Hey, welcome. So today, we are cracking the code on one of the most legendary drumming books out there. We're going to uncover a secret that takes it way beyond just your hands and unlocks a whole new universe of playing.
So, does this sound familiar? You're putting in the hours, you're practicing, but you've just hit a wall. Your coordination feels completely stuck. Your hands are doing their thing, your feet are doing something else, and it just doesn't feel connected. Believe me, it's a super common frustration for pretty much every drummer.
And that's where this book comes in, Stick Control. For decades, it's been the absolute Bible for building up your hand speed, your control, all that good stuff. But what if I told you that its real power, its true secret, has almost nothing to do with just your hands? What if it's the key to unlocking your entire body on the kit?
So here's the plan. We'll look at why this book is a secret weapon. Then we'll get into how to literally rewire your four-limb coordination. After that, we'll turn those boring exercises into actual music. And finally, we'll see just how far you can take this. Let's dive in.
Okay, part one, the drummer's secret weapon. We're going to see how these really simple pages of R's and L's are actually a master key to total independence on the drum set.
So here it is. The big idea is actually so simple, it's kind of brilliant. The book is just endless patterns of R for right hand and L for left hand. But here's the secret. Stop thinking about them as hands. R can be your right foot. L can be your left foot. It can be any combination you can possibly think of.
All right, let's see how this one little idea explodes into some real-world applications. It is time to start rewiring that connection between your brain and your limbs to build a rock-solid foundation. So here's a fantastic place to start, a really basic limb map. You take any exercise in the book, and instead of playing R with your right hand, you play it with your right foot on the bass drum. And the L, well, that stays on the snare drum with your left hand. It's so simple, right? But the effect it has on your coordination is huge. And from that one concept, you can create some amazing exercises. For instance, play all the R's on your kick and all the L's with just one hand. This creates what we call linear patterns, because only one limb is hitting at any given time. And if you really want to push yourself, try playing the R's with your left foot on the hi-hat. The whole goal here is to start thinking of every single limb as its own independent voice. Now, this really leads to two major approaches. Over on the left, you have what's called the dependent technique. That's where your right hand and your right foot play the R's at the exact same time in unison. It's super powerful, really punchy. And then on the right, you've got the linear technique we just talked about, where every limb plays on its own, creating these really cool, flowing and intricate patterns.
Okay, exercises are awesome, but let's be real, we're here to make music. So in this next part, let's see how we can transform these kind of mechanical patterns into actual musical rock and jazz grooves.
You know, building a rock groove is as easy as just adding one more layer. Start with your right hand playing a simple, steady pulse on the hi-hat. Now, underneath that, have your kick drum play all the R's from a stick control exercise, and your snare play all the L's. And just like that, that dry exercise suddenly becomes this funky, complex beat. It's awesome. And hey, if you really want to level up, you can get all four limbs in on the action. Move your right hand over to the ride cymbal, bring your left foot in on the hi-hat, and then start playing those snare notes really softly. Those are your ghost notes. You know, those quiet little textural notes that sit in between the main beats. Man, that is when you really start to sound like a pro. So what about jazz? Oh, yeah. It works perfectly. First, you just have to interpret everything with a swing feel. Then your right hand plays that classic spang-a-lang jazz pattern on the ride. Your left foot keeps time on the hi-hat, and, you guessed it, the stick control exercise becomes this incredible conversation between your kick drum and your snare. This is exactly how you build that effortless jazz language. But here's the thing you have to remember. We have only just scratched the surface. These examples aren't rules you have to follow. They're just jumping off points for a much, much bigger journey. Seriously, just by mixing and matching which limbs play the R's and L's, and then deciding where on the kit you're going to play them, this one book gives you a literal lifetime of material to practice. We're talking thousands, maybe even millions of possible combinations. You know, there's a quote from the source material that just says it all perfectly. The practical application of the stick control book to the drum set is limited only by the imagination of the player. The book isn't here to give you the answers. It's here to give you the tools to find your own. And that really leaves us with one final and most important question. Now that you have the key,
Now that you know the secret code hidden inside this legendary book, what will you create with it?